Welcome back to Top 5. Cleo Smith, 4, Australia. In October 2021, 4-year-old Cleo Smith vanished from her family's campsite in Western Australia. After an extensive search, she was found alive in a house 18 days later. Her disappearance sparked a nationwide search and raised concerns about child safety in camping areas. 19. Peng Shuai, 35, China. Chinese tennis player Peng Shuai disappeared from public view in November 2021 after accusing a high-ranking politician of sexual assault. She reappeared 2 weeks later, claiming her post had been misunderstood. The incident raised international concerns about her safety and freedom. 18. Gabby Petito, 22, United States. Gabby Petito was reported missing in September 2021 while on a road trip with her fiancé, Brian Laundrie. Her body was found in Wyoming shortly after, and her death was ruled a homicide. The case drew massive media attention and highlighted issues of domestic violence. 17. Oluwatoyin Salo, 19, United States. A community activist, Oluwatoyin Salo disappeared in June 2020 and was found dead 4 days later. Her murder sparked outrage and highlighted the dangers faced by activists, particularly young women advocating for social justice. 16. Naya Rivera, 33, United States. The actress went missing in July 2020 while swimming with her son in Lake Piru, California. Her body was recovered days later, and it was suspected she drowned after saving her son. The tragic circumstances of her death shocked fans and raised awareness about water safety. 15. Vanessa Guillen, 20, United States. Vanessa, a soldier at Fort Hood, Texas, disappeared in April 2020. Her remains were found 2 months later, and her death was ruled a homicide. The case brought attention to issues of sexual harassment and violence within the military. 14. Mark Frericks, 57, Afghanistan. Frericks was kidnapped by the Taliban-affiliated Haqqani network in January 2020. After 2 years of uncertainty, he was released in September 2022. His prolonged captivity and the circumstances of his release highlight the dangers faced by Americans abroad. 13. Chen Qiushi, 34, China. A citizen journalist, Chen was abducted in February 2020 for reporting on the COVID-19 pandemic. He was later found alive but under strict surveillance. His case underscores the risks faced by journalists in authoritarian regimes. 12. Shad Gaspard, 39, United States. Former WWE wrestler Shad Gaspard drowned in May 2020 while saving his son from a rip current. His body was recovered days later. His selfless act of heroism resonated with fans and highlighted the dangers of swimming in rough waters. 11. Tristan Bailey, 13, United States. Tristan was reported missing in May 2021, and her body was found later that day. Her classmate was arrested for her murder, shocking the community and raising concerns about youth violence. 10. Charlize Mutton, 9, Australia. Charlize disappeared in February 2022 while visiting her mother's fiancé. Her body was found days later, and her mother's fiancé was charged with her murder. The case shocked the nation and raised awareness about child safety. 9. Sarah Everard, 33, United Kingdom. Sarah disappeared in March 2021 after leaving a friend's house. Her remains were found days later, and a police officer was arrested for her murder. The case sparked widespread protests against violence towards women. 8. Megan Kung Ui, 4, Singapore. Megan was reported missing in July 2020, and it was later revealed that she had been murdered by her mother and others. The case highlighted the tragic realities of child abuse and neglect. 7. Oluwatoyin Salo, 19, United States. A community activist, Oluwatoyin, disappeared in June 2020 and was found dead 4 days later. Her murder sparked outrage and highlighted the dangers faced by activists, particularly young women advocating for social justice. 6. Ahmaud Arbery, 25, United States. Ahmaud was shot and killed while jogging in February 2020. His death was initially ruled a homicide, but it took months for charges to be filed against his killers. The case drew national attention and sparked protests against racial violence. 5. Facundo Astudillo Castro, 22, Argentina. Facundo disappeared in April 2020 after being stopped by police. His body was found months later, and his death was ruled a drowning. The case raised concerns about police brutality and accountability in Argentina. 4. Bernadette Walker, 17, United Kingdom. Bernadette disappeared in July 2020, and her stepfather was later convicted of her murder. The case highlighted the dangers of domestic violence and the need for better protections for vulnerable individuals. 3. İpek Er, 18, Turkey. İpek was kidnapped and raped over a 20-day period before dying by suicide in August 2020. Her tragic story raised awareness about violence against women and the need for systemic change in addressing such issues. 2. Keane Mulready Woods, 17, Ireland. Keane disappeared in January 2020, and his dismembered remains were found shortly after. The gruesome nature of his murder shocked the nation and raised concerns about gang violence in Ireland. 1. The disappearance of the boys in Janical, Pakistan. In February 2021, 4 boys disappeared while hunting. Their mutilated remains were found weeks later, sparking nationwide protests against violence and the need for better security in the region. The brutality of their deaths and the circumstances surrounding their disappearance make this case one of the most disturbing in recent memory.